An African Union delegation of 5 heads of state continued with mediation efforts in Burundi. The leaders met with Burundi's president in Bujumbura on Friday at the end of a 2-day visit to push for talks to end the country's political crisis. The delegation was also expected to meet with government, opposition and civil society leaders. Their trip follows a visit to Burundi this week by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon as part of an overall international effort to end the country's 10-month-old conflict. The Burundian government has said it will not negotiate with certain opposition figures who it considers to be coup plotters. The International Crisis Group has called on the delegation to put pressure on the country's leaders in order to reach a solution before the crisis worsens. While South Africa's Jacob Zuma is heading the mission meant to push for talks and end Burundi's political crisis. And according to the Burundian government, the visit by the high-powered AU delegation is also meant to confirm that peace and security have returned to the country. But even as the presidents of South Africa, Chad, Mauritania, Gabon and Senegal visit the country, rights groups claim deepening violence there. President Zuma is, however, optimistic that peace can be achieved through dialogue.
Our mandate is to consult with all the important players here in Burundi regarding the political situation and to encourage all players to participate in the mediation process facilitated by His Excellency President Museveni, and to urge all to engage actively in the inter-Burundian dialogue. We firmly believe that challenges that Burundi faces can only be resolved through participation by all parties in inclusive dialogue whose result should be peace, security and stability for the people of Burundi.
And for more details on the ground, we are joined by CCTV's Robert Nagila, who's live for us from Burundi's capital, Bujumbura. Robert, the group of African leaders has been meeting with top Burundi officials, including the president. What's the latest on those talks?
Thank you, Penina. Well, after a meeting between the AU mission led by South African President Jacob Zuma, in that group, 4 other African leaders, including the Ethiopian Prime Minister, President of Gabon, and the President of Mauritius, and President Pierre Nkurunziza of Burundi, the leaders emerged. Now, I'm just going to try and describe what we witnessed as they came out. First to emerge after 5 hours was the Ethiopian Prime Minister. He was literally pushing and shoving his way out, did not speak to anyone, did not look amused, was escorted to his car. Then about 5 minutes later, the other leaders emerged, that is President Jacob Zuma, Macky Sall of Senegal, and President Pierre Nkurunziza. Now, it does not appear that a deal has been reached from what we heard at that press briefing, which was very, very short, no questions were allowed. Now, what President Jacob Zuma said was that they had agreed on a lot of issues, and that's as far as he was prepared to go. He said that the meeting had been fruitful. They had agreed on a lot of issues. However, they would not take any questions. There would be a communique that would be sent out, and after that, they would then take questions. Now, I'm not sure how that's supposed to happen because that communique is supposed to take place electronically. This is ostensibly will happen after this mission has reported back to the AU, African Union, on their progress here, and then a decision will be taken as to what happens next. However, like I said, it does appear that no deal has been arrived at, and like I said, the Ethiopian Prime Minister, who left 5 minutes earlier on his way to the airport, did not appear to be amused by the whole situation. We had a little grumbling from some of his aides as well. However, we have to wait until we get further information as to what exactly took place at that meeting. However, President Jacob Zuma, the mission leader, saying that they had agreed on a lot of issues, which basically means that there is quite a few issues as well that they did not agree on. However, we do not have any details on those particular issues. Penina?
So what options, Robert, are being considered to restore peace in Burundi, and is an AU troops deployment still a possibility?
Well, as far as the Burundians are concerned, and this we have been told by officials from Pierre Nkurunziza's administration, including the foreign minister, Alain Nyamitwe, that as far as they're concerned, it's no longer on the table, the peacekeepers. In January, when we were in Addis, Burundi's Vice President told us that one of the reasons why they categorically denied or rejected that proposal by the African Union to send in 5,000 peacekeepers was because they had not been consulted on this. And they were basically saying that had we been consulted, we would have given our input and then come up with a position that was agreeable to everybody. And they also say that as far as they are concerned at this particular moment, they feel that the situation on the ground does not warrant any peacekeepers being sent here, saying that the Burundian government has the capacity and capability to restore law and order. And they say that as far as they're concerned, the worst of the crisis really is over. And they say that the sporadic attacks that we're witnessing in the capital at this particular moment are remnants of the situation that broke out in April last year. So they say that they're very happy with the current situation. And as far as they're concerned, dialogue, inclusive dialogue involving all political parties, the civil society, religious leaders, the administration, is the only way forward. However, having seen what we've witnessed today, it doesn't look like there's been any agreement. So we have to wait and see what will be presented before the African Union. We know that next week the East African community is meeting in Arusha as well. This issue likely to come out. The Ugandan defense minister was here, so he will get a report, and he's and to report back to the East African leaders on the situation at the moment, what happened here, what occurred, and what was agreed, what was not agreed. Penina?
All right, Tribut Nagila live then Bujumbura.